introduce yourself?
Sure. My name is Raul Montolfo, and I'm a senior instructor for Gracie Bob Falsonoms.
Cool. And so, okay, so first thing I want to ask you is how did you get started in martial arts?
Well, I started martial arts about 25 years ago. What it was, I saw when I was in college, I had seen a demonstration, a martial art demonstration, and I was fascinated by the movement, and not so much the physicality of it, but not so much the self-defense part, but just the movement itself. I always really enjoyed moving, being an athlete, and saw a demonstration, a Aikido demonstration, and thought that this was a wonderful thing to try. And like everybody that gets into martial arts, it's like, it'd be really cool to learn these techniques and stuff too, and kind of make a strong guy and stuff too. So, but then once I started, I realized the depth of the techniques and stuff too, and then I also the art itself.
Okay.
So.
And so, how long were you? What was it something that you always wanted to do?
Yeah, I actually, when I was a kid, I started off in judo when I was about 10 years old, and really liked it. But then I started playing other sports and stuff too, like kids of age, and I was lucky enough to play. I had played high school, college, and pro basketball and stuff too overseas. I played in Argentina and in Spain.
Really?
Yeah. So.
Like for the professional team?
Yes, I played in Argentina. I played for Obras, and in Spain I played in Valencia.
Wow, so you played for the professional team. So so you got martial arts and then you got professional basketball, right?
Correct.
So how'd you get away from basketball?
Well, I played I played overseas and stuff too, and it was enjoyable playing basketball and stuff too. But I always, like I said, I always liked the physicality and stuff too. I played basketball at the University of Hawaii, and so the demonstration I saw in Hawaii, because it's such a large Asian culture and stuff too, they used to always have these festivals, and that's the first time I saw a martial art demonstration. And really, what it was I had a small injury, and the guy who was actually working on my leg was a Hapkido master, an acupuncturist, and he said, "I got a great way of curing this, this pull that you have, this tear. It's stretching and maybe some other activities and stuff too." And he invited me to his school to get some work done. And I'd gone to his what they call it, Korean call it dojang, and Japanese call it dojo. And I'd gone there, and I said, "Wow, this guy was a master." And I was like, "Wow, it's really amazing." So he started working my leg, and so he started showing me some stretching and stuff too. And then I asked my college coach, I go, "Well, is it okay if I train a little bit and stuff too?" He goes, "Well, as long as there's no sparring or fighting and stuff too, not a problem." So that's kind of how I started.
What was the injury?
The injury, I tore my hamstring. And he said, "I got some great stretches and stuff too." So I believe there's a universal karma in the world and stuff too, and things that you put out there and stuff too. There's an old Asian saying that when the student's ready, the teacher will appear. And, and I think that was kind of my segue into doing the martial arts, and so when I was done playing basketball, I got to the point where I realized that, look, I'm not going to ever make it in the NBA, but I was fortunate enough to see the world and get paid for it. So I got to see a lot of different cultures and stuff too. So I played 2 years in Argentina and 3 years in Spain. So I was really blessed that I got to see a lot of really great places, meet a lot of really interesting people, and learn different languages. And so when I came back, I decided, I was so physical my whole life, so I was like, now I get a chance to really study martial arts, and that's how I started.
Are you following the series now, the whole NBA Finals now?
Yeah, a little bit. I remember. I'm a lot older than you guys, so I remember the days with Magic Johnson and Larry Bird, and the big rivalry and stuff too. And I was fortunate enough to play a lot of pickup games with Magic Johnson over at the used to be the old Pauley Pavilion, and I was in a summer league with Byron Scott and stuff too. And we at the time played with the Lakers and things. So down in Crenshaw High School and stuff too. So a lot of those guys at that era, I played against or knew and stuff too. So
were they trying to get you to say, hey, come on over and play, in America sort of thing?
Well, you know what? There's at certain points in life you have to realize that you'd be realistic and stuff too. I was good, but I was never at that level of athleticism and stuff too. But it's like anything in life. You have to realize, what you're certain things you're good at, and certain things you're not that good at, and be realistic about it, and pursue the things you are good at. So.
Why did you want to learn Jitsu?
I'd having studied martial arts, having a black belt in Hapkido and then Aikido, and training in Japan. I was always fascinated by. I believe everything is a progression, and I believe that learning the punching and kicking is one thing, and then the wrist locks and throws were another. But the one element that I always thought was really missing was the ground techniques. And I realized I always believe that you always try to find the people who do something that you really want to study, the best the best person that you possibly can find. And I had been exposed to the Gracie Jiu-Jitsu and stuff too by seeing it and stuff too, like most people did in the UFC, and realized that this is something I really would like to learn, you know. And so the opportunity came when Gracie Baja first came to the United States about some 7.5 years ago. Oh, close to maybe a little longer than that. I was one of the first students in the U.S. for Gracie Baja.
Oh.
And you know, same thing. I was fortunate enough to have started with Gracie Baja. And at the time, my teacher was Marcy Fitosa, who was the head instructor for Gracie Baja from Brazil, who moved to the United States. And I was fortunate enough that Master Gracie actually came also too within a few months after that. So I also studied with Master Carlos Gracie Jr. So I was really fortunate, and because of that, you know, being exposed to Gracie Baja, I eventually ended up, you know, meeting the great teachers that I know now, and being exposed to finally becoming an instructor. And it's been a great journey so far. And,